Hello, friends. Welcome to another wonderful Thursday here on Robot Republic. Hello, Game Raiders. Nice to see you in the chat. We're doing something a bit different this week. Hey, Jack. We're doing something a bit different this week. We're taking a bit of a pause from our Star Wars Jedi Survivor stream series because a couple of weeks ago, Act Zero released We, the Refugees Ticket to Europe, which is what we're playing this evening. And this game I feel is really, really important for a couple of reasons. Number one, those of you that have been, that are fans of the channel, those of you that follow our chatbot series where I sit down and interview kind of like indie developers, etc. We interviewed Andrew from Act Zero last summer, who told us a little bit about the game and what they are trying to do with it, which we'll get to in a minute. Secondly, I wanted to play this game because it's something that I find really, really interesting, both before we did the chatbot interview and more so after we did the chatbot interview. And secondly, at the moment, there are certain sentiments among certain people across a broad variety of Western countries at the moment. Very specifically, a lot of them seem to be in the UK and in America as well, who are targeting some of the most vulnerable people in our society, who are refugees. There are large numbers of vulnerable people within society. Refugees are obviously a very vulnerable group, and this game tells the stories of real life refugees. Obviously, their names have been changed for confidentiality and kind of like whatnot, but these are the real stories of real refugees, and I think it's such an important game that we are going to play a little bit of it today. Also, and I didn't work this out and didn't realize this until I actually jumped onto YouTube to start the stream because I missed it earlier when I did all the setup and stuff. This is also technically the Robot Republic's birthday stream. So our birthday stream is hopefully raising awareness of a good cause and also providing the wonderful sentiment of screw anyone who is, and it doesn't matter where you are, where you're from, refugees are vulnerable people and they, they need help and protection, and hopefully this game will do a little bit to kind of help people empathize with that, because I think a lot of us don't, most people are kind of just like, we do feel sorry for them, but we don't know just what they've been through, and this game's whole thing is to try and kind of like communicate some of those stories. Yeah, it is actually our birthday, Callie. We did great at organising the birthday stream that we said we were going to organise. This is what happens when both myself and editor Callie and the rest of the Robot Republic team have like a bajillion things to do outside of Robot Republic. We actually forget that it is the Robot Republic birthday. But it's fine. This is now the birthday stream, so happy birthday, Robot Republic. We're gonna play We the Refugees. And if you are sitting there kind of like, listening to this and being like, oh, get on and play the game, we'll get on and play the game in a sec, obviously. There is also in the description for this video a link to the game on Steam as well. This isn't going to be our normal Thursday either, so those of you that are like, well, hey, Thirsty Thursday. It's going to be a little bit more of a calm, quiet, demure Thursday. I say that. We'll see what happens. And we're off to a great start. We've got there's going to be a lot of reading, so sit back, relax, as I sit here and read through the significant text. So you are a frustrated 30-something wannabe writer from Warsaw who decides to make something out of himself. You will amaze the literary world with your earth-shattering book about refugees. It will inspire crowds and galvanize hearts and expand minds and change the world in all the right ways. Before you prepare your Nobel Prize acceptance speech, there is only the trivial matter of actually traveling to Africa to gather some notes for the story. You have an ingenious plan to smuggle yourself onto one of the illegal boats that travel to Europe from the shores of Africa while pretending to be a refugee yourself. Surely nothing can go wrong, and you are not completely out of your depth. Surely. Right? Wow, right, there it is. There is literally the statement that, unfortunately, if you are a citizen of the UK or you follow any of the UK politics, will be aware of at the moment. That is an unfortunate tagline for our current, apparently non-horrifically right-wing government. Which, let's be serious now, they are horrendously right-wing and they're vile, absolutely vile right now. The rhetoric coming out of the UK government. Anyway, we might drift into some politics this evening as well. So, if you are a hard right, anti-humanitarian, anti-refugee, anti-LGBTIQ+, anti-women individual, sit back, stay where you are. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Maybe you'll learn some humanity. And to all our lovely regular viewers who are not like that and are not that way inclined, enjoy an interesting story, hopefully. I think this is a point-and-click type of game rated, yes. It's for definitely visual novel, and there are some choices involved as well. So yes, we're gonna go through our opening sequence, which is quite nice, and we'll go from there. So your main objective is to collect notebook entries, which will allow you to write a better book. Meet people, explore places, gain experience. Be perceptive and inquisitive. Any information can be relevant. Any person can become your protagonist. Write down everything that seems significant, interesting, and surprising to you. Become a writer. Your flight is in a couple of hours. Callie makes a good choice. Editor Callie makes a very good point. If you are a hard right individual and you have clicked on a channel with a robotic pride flag logo, you may be lost. But again, sit back and relax because you might learn some empathy. Oh, that was just the preamble. I'm going to bring the volume up a little bit because it's a bit quiet, and there is some nice. There's some nice vibes with the music. If the volume is. I'm just going to bring that down to there. There we go. Sorry, I was just tweaking volume levels and stuff. If you are talking about the actress that plays Kira in DS9, Jack, she is amazing. It's Nana something. But yeah, actress that plays Kira in Deep Space Nine is love her. Right, chapter 1, Home, Bitter, Home. The cursor is blinking on the white background of an empty page. Your flight is in a couple of hours. We have 4 choices. I mean, where did the cat go? Okay, so my choices are 30 years of life contained in 38 square meters. It was 2014 when I first heard about the boat sinking in the Mediterranean. Where did the cat go? I think I'm going to take a nap before my flight. I mean, obviously, where'd the cat go? So this particular game has been developed by Act Zero, who are a Polish indie development team. That's the one, Nanovisator. Thank you, Jack. Was a Polish development team who have written this game. It is hundreds of thousands of words long as well. So yeah. Tag added empathy. We've already got the empathy tag by being like, where did the cat go? Suddenly I realise I haven't seen Engels since the morning. I try to recall if I gave him his breakfast. I pop into the kitchen and find his bowl. It's full of kibble. Where has the cat gone? Now I'm thinking. I like the idea that the cat is hidden and stowed away inside the backpack. I look inside my backpack. It's been lying in the middle of my studio for 2 days, surrounded by clothes, notebooks, a power bank, and some documents. They would take no more than 15 minutes to pack. Even so, I put it off. What am I afraid of? What am I running from? A trip to Africa is a dream come true, right? It's my door to the literary world. Engels is not in the backpack. Okay, we're gonna look elsewhere for in the apartment. Yeah, you are very right, Callie. I would extend that to not just saving a cat, but saving any small, pet-based animal is a good way of showing that your character is a good person, like Callie said. Ripley from Aliens. You actually met Nana Viciter. Jack, that's incredible. And yeah, to be fair, she's like such an like her portrayal of Kira in DS9 is amazing. If the pet is saved, all is well. You are right, Game Raiders. Right. We're gonna check the. We're still looking for the. We're gonna look at see if the cat's in the drawer, filing cabinet. I open a filing cabinet drawer. This is where I keep all contracts and other company documents. If I've ever even printed anything of any significance to the world, this is it. Addenda, bills, invoices. When I think to myself, I think of a writer. Looking from a distance, though, I live the life of an accountant. I look elsewhere in the apartment. We're still looking for the cat. I start to panic. Is Engels missing? Engels is missing? What? The cat's gone? We've got to save the cat. And it had to be today, moments before Hella's visit. I can hear her comments already. How could you lose a cat in a locked apartment? With the underlying suggestion that she could take better care of Engels. She was always better at everything. She said from the start that I was unfit to have a pet, and now, of course, there's proof. She will triumph again. I feel sad. Deep down inside, I know it's true. Engels would have it better with Hella. He would be living in a bigger apartment and getting more attention. There's always something standing in the way of me spending time with him. I have a company to run, masterpieces to write, whatever. I have a hard time giving up my convenience for other humans, let alone a cat. I hear a meow. I feel something rubbing against my foot. It is the fluffiness of the cat or the... Oh my god, there's my boy. Look at the kitty! Oh, that is gorgeous artwork. That is stunning. Whoever did the artwork for this game is... Wow. There's my boy, just like he trained me. I give Engels a scratch. Yes, we do. First at the back of his neck, then on his head, and finally his favourite place, which only his most trusted friends are allowed to touch. The fur on his face. Petting a cat resembles a trance or meditation. It rids the mind of any unnecessary thoughts. What is left is the pure physical act of direct contact between two loving beings. I wait for a blissful purr, which is literally with the kitty cat. This is best game ever. Literally like 50 minutes into the stream, we're petting a kitty cat. I wait for a blissful purr, but when it comes, I scratch on. Silence. Engels seems unwell. Turns his head away and avoids my touch. At the same time, he doesn't attack me with his claws. He's not in the mood for playing either. He walks listlessly towards the radiator and snuggles at its base, as if something were troubling him. See, now, pets know when we're going on holidays or we're going on trips and stuff. Like, pets know. Pets absolutely 100% know if we're going away. Like, seriously. So yeah, perhaps he senses that I'm about to leave him. There are a couple of hours until takeoff, left until takeoff. Does Engels understand what the object strewn around the backpack means? Is this why he seems depressed? I can only hope that Hella will make it up to him. As I wait for her arrival, I decide to spend the rest of my time in the apartment. Reading the news. Nope, that's going to depress us. Packing. Wow. We said it could be done in 15 minutes. Or spending the rest of the time at the apartment on my PlayStation. I mean, that feels like... I see, I'd pack. I'm one of those, like, really anally retentive people before I go on a trip and stuff. I'm like, pack everything several hours before, and then I can sit and relax. I went on holiday earlier this year. I literally packed 2 weeks before I went on holiday. I mean, I was going to house sit for my parents, to be fair, but yeah, and then literally spent the majority of the next 2 weeks unpacking and repacking all my clothing, because apparently I am a bit of a lunatic when it comes to actually going on trips, because I worry about leaving things behind. There is some... I haven't actually seen the new Hoarders Hunt stuff on Sea of Thieves yet. That sounds really cool. Oh, excuse me. It's been quite a long week, as well. Hence, if I start yawning, it's because I am tired, because it's been a long one. I spend the rest of the time packing. I will be gone for at least 15 days, but I have to fit all my stuff into a small backpack. A rainproof jacket, t-shirts and underwear, my wallet, documents, toiletries, phone charger. 3 notebooks take up most of the space in the main compartment. I can just squeeze one book in. I'm still not sure which one I should choose. So we've got Yaroslav Mikoyayski's The Great Tide. I apologise if I absolutely am butchering that name at all. Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, or Edward Limonov's It's Me, Eddie. I have only heard of one of those, which probably points a lot to how uncultured I am as a person. Which would be Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Because it was an optional thing to read during my A-levels over a decade ago. I decided not to read it because I couldn't be bothered. But yeah. That is really cool. The grand prize for it is a real-life golden skull. I might actually have to get on that. Although I feel if I start doing AR games again, it's just going to be a steady slope back into the clutches of Pokemon Go. Anyway, journalism has never been sexier than when Hunter Thompson did it. He could turn a commission for a story about something as straightforward as a motorcycle rally into a cult book of the American counterculture, because he didn't give a shit about deadlines, professionalism, or the publisher's expectations. I choose Thompson as the literary patron for my African expedition. What mattered to him was his rock and roll madness. For Thompson, each story was just an excuse to record his lifestyle, which was drowning in alcohol and Dunhill cigarettes, as well as soft drugs, hard drugs, and yet more drugs. No other journalist could admit as bluntly and disarmingly as Thompson that he actually had no idea what he was doing, and really, he couldn't care less. Usually, rather than discussing the subjects that he had been commissioned to write about, Hunter's stories described his failures as a journalist, the struggle of writing hungover, and the drug binges which made him miss meetings. Feel personally attacked right now. Ignore his chat and shit. Lots of reading to do in game. Yeah, I do realise that, Callie. He invented facts and then described the process of inventing facts sincerely, arrogantly, drunkenly. And he would always get away with it because he lived beautifully, boundlessly, without compromise, with self-acceptance. This perpetually intoxicated journalist made a writing method out of his drug habit, a method which was soon called gonzo journalism. Its real subject is the journalist's working process and the demythologization, that's a bloody mouthful, of his craft, and in Thompson's case specifically, his love of substances. The literary patron for an African expedition into the lives of refugees being a journalist who spends half his time rambling about his own failures, I feel doesn't quite set the right tone. Symbolic patron of the adventure, right. The Great Tide. Non-fiction account of the narrator's journey to Lampedusa, which is brief but thick with content. The Italian island, 100 kilometers off the African coast, known for its surrounding turquoise sea, fabulous beaches, became a symbol of the migration crisis when hundreds of boats filled with refugees began reaching its shores. Although the book is just 130 pages long, I've been reading it for several weeks now because it hurts my self-esteem. Miko Lauyski is more than just a journalist, he's a poet too, and it shows. He combines the succinctness of the precision of a lyrical phrase with hard facts, which intimidates me. What's the point of writing another book about refugees if a work of thorough and complete as the Great Tide has already been written, my copy is full of underlined sentences and notes scribbled on the margins. I have to admit, though, that when I started, I would reach for my pencil every couple of lines, and then I stopped seeing the point. Otherwise, I would have underlined entire pages. Despite his inevitable style, Michalowski himself emanates extraordinary modesty and humility. Although the narrative is written in the first person, there isn't much I could say about its author. He listens to his protagonist, the residents of Lampedusa, a doctor, a mayor, and a turtle caretaker. Ah, that's an amazing job, a turtle caretaker. Fabulous. He doesn't judge, nor does he assign value. He stays in the shadows. In his literary interpretation, the Polish school of reportage achieves its peak form. That guy sounds like a decent patron. And yeah, wonderful. I have 2 more side pockets left. Into the left one, I'll put something to lift up my mood. After all, refugee stories can be traumatic. Over the past few days, I watched a series of interviews with volunteers who talked about their humanitarian burnout. They were overwhelmed by the scale of human tragedy and suffering they faced in refugee camps. Just in case, I decided to pack psychiatric medication, so antidepressants, or condoms. Yes, because that's a really safe way to go about this. Let's hear some really sad and depressing stories, end up with humanitarian burnout, and then be like, yes, let's go and have random sex with a stranger. I suppose, I don't know. Part of me feels that possibly taking antidepressants is a safer bet. If I was 10 years younger, I'd be like clicking on condoms and be like, woo, yeah, let's go sleep with some random people whilst we're, doing a, piece of journalism. Welcome back, Game Raiders. Oh, nice. Where are you on holiday? Of course, Edit Callie is saying condoms. Oh, screw it. Why not? Nothing cheers you up like safe sex, right? Indeed, safe sex is good. It's good sex. Can't believe I have just said that on an actual live stream. Oh well. In the right pocket, I'll hide. We've already packed a power bank. That is very true. Antidepressants might get mistaken for drugs. We've already packed a power bank. We are going to be pretending to be a refugee, so we are probably going to run out of charge at some point. But frankly, if we're going to run out of charge, an extra power bank is going to give us, what, like an extra 8 hours on our phone? So I'm going with a packet of cigarettes. Like, I'm not going to lie. We've got a book about someone who we admire. We've got some condoms, and we've got some cigarettes, and everything else. Yep, Callie's with me on that one. Cigarettes, indeed. Can't fit anything else in the bag. Condoms and cigarettes is all you need. As happened in Love Actually. You take a duffel bag with some clothes, some condoms, and some cigarettes, and you just go. Ooh. That sounds awesome, Game Raiders. I haven't been to an amusement park in ages. I might go to one over the summer, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how things pan out. It's going to be a manic couple of weeks, I think, for me. Okay, right, the intercom buzzes. When I hear the buzz, I freeze. It must be Hella. She's here to pick up the cat. Like we arranged. It's been 2 years since I last saw her. I got over her and built myself from the ground up. But I still hold a grudge. And now we are just a few flights of stairs from another meeting. When I look her in the face again after all the suffering. I mean, I'm assuming this is an ex who probably spurned us, to be fair. I think if you're gonna, when you meet an ex, you don't want to kind of do the whole kind of just like, look how amazing my life is, because they see right through that. You also don't take your frustrations out on them, even if they really hurt you. Like, if they have, like, full on, like, ripped your heart out, thrown it on the floor and stamped all over it, don't be a dick. Just, the irony that we're playing a game like this, and I'm literally saying to people, don't be a dick. But yeah, like, you treat them normally like a regular acquaintance, just like, hi, how are you? How's it been? Small talk, which we all suck at. by the way. And if you're disagreeing with me in the chat, you're a liar. No one likes small talk. We all suck at it. It always feels forced and fake. But that's what you do with an ex. You're just like, yeah, no, I'm doing good, thanks. Yeah, no, thanks for looking after the cat. Make sure you take care of him. Here's the cat food. Here's everything else. See you in a couple of weeks. And then you bugger off. So yeah, you treat her normally, like a regular acquaintance. That's what we are to each other, acquaintances. We went our separate ways, and that's good. I can hear footsteps. I can hear footsteps in the stairwell. I wait at the door. It draws me like a magnet. Shall I shake her hand or kiss her on the cheek? Offer her a coffee or get it over with? And forget it, the doorbell rings. Tension. I open the door. Hella looks older. Well, she is older, of course. But it's not about maturing. She looks unwell, tired and almost unhappy. Hi, she says. I'll grab the cut and go. Matchbox double parked in front of your building. Here we go. As soon as she opens her mouth, she brags about someone waiting for her. She's dealing the cards, as usual. I feel... Okay. We're going down this kind of like thing. We don't... We're not going for the bait, by the way. Just saying now. We're not. If she throws any bait out, we ain't taking it. So anyway, yeah, she's dealing the cards as usual. Let me just put Engels into his crate real quick. I tell her, you haven't done it yet, huh? She asks, with what seems to be a passive-aggressive tone in her voice. I mean, don't push me. We're just gonna, you know, it'll only take me 1 second. Calm down. I call Engels by his name. He doesn't react. He is nowhere to be seen. Again, he's hiding. Awkward minutes pass. Hella stands at the doorway watching my frantic search. She doesn't say a word. Finally, I find the cat and try to put him in his crate. He's fighting me, refusing to go in. I'm embarrassed. In the end, I manage it somehow. I hand the crate to Hella. Well, we'll get going, she says. It was nice seeing you. Uh-huh. She holds out her hand to me. I shake it. We're going to be civilized. We can be civilized. Touching her feels strange. Memories of our nights together and walking trips outside the city in the spring flash before my eyes. I remember all the wild retreats that we explored on weekends. Hella lets go of my hand first. She stares at the floor, flustered. Take care of yourself. You know, in Africa. Text me when you land or something, she says. Keep an eye on him, okay? I reply, motioning at the crate. 1 hour later, I'm off to the airport. Indeed, Callie, be nice to exes. There's quite a cute little interactive thing. A nice little flighty-whitey. Where are we going? Oh, we are on the outskirts of Alexandria. I've always wanted to go to Egypt. I know that sounds really basic. I mean, to be fair, if you're watching the channel, you know by now that I am pretty goddamn basic. Right, we have successfully landed in Egypt, in Alexandria. Borg Al Arab Airport in Alexandria. The lounge is rectangular, spacious, and 10 or so meters tall. Its interior bright with natural light entering through the glass walls. The colours are muted, mostly beige, light brown, and various shades of grey. Here and there, a palm tree sticks out of a cube-shaped flower pot, an attempt to animate the otherwise bland space. It's got that vacation-y vibe to it. It's that kind of holiday mode. I'm glad the chat's agreeing with me that we want to go to Egypt. My body has a Pavlovian reaction to the new environment. My muscles relax as I become more observant and sensitive to stimuli. I know this feeling well, though I'd almost forgotten it existed. I grin broadly and take a deep breath. Even the air smells familiar, of paid vacation days, the smell of air-conditioned heat. Nothing here is very different from Europe. The layout of the airport, the signage inside, the architecture too, except for the palm trees, maybe, and the ubiquitous choppy waves of the Arabic alphabet. And yet, somehow, it all feels unmistakably different to me. And it's not even about the other travellers being dressed in Muslim garments, this woman's abaya, or that man's jalabiya. Again, apologies if the pronunciation is god-awful and terrible. What I see has not changed much, but how I see it has. Under the spell of a traveller's freedom, adventure calls, curiosity beckons, my senses are heightened. This ordinary airport, one of thousands of such boring and predictable non-places. suddenly becomes an intriguing and self-sufficient microcosm full of secrets. I look at the ground service people. Suddenly, they're more than uniforms to me. I imagine the potential fascinating life stories behind them. I'm ravenous for novelty. I've got a new notebook entry and a hunger tag. We'll have a look at tags in a minute, methinks. Fun fact, Alexandria is named after Alex Ferguson. Wow, Callie, just wow. Just wow. According to my itinerary, I have nothing else planned for today. On the margins of my research notes, alongside the underlined phone numbers, I only find a short reminder from my publisher, a subtle suggestion to call my fixers and set up some meetings once I've landed. The first one, check the second. Okay, so choices. Oh, that sounds like quite a cool game, actually. Amiga Strikers. Sounds like a Mario Strikers knockoff, actually. I think back to my conversation with the publisher. A subtle suggestion, I snicker. I think back to my conversation with the publisher. Do whatever you want, Jersey said. But remember, I'm paying. You're not going on vacation. So it may seem like I'm my own boss here. Still, my employees' expectations are very clear. Feeling the pressure, I take a look at the phone numbers in the dossier. The first one is Eric, a Belgian volunteer. The researcher clearly did his job and included some personal remarks on the standard profile. Eric Sonkamp, a humanitarian aid legend, used to volunteer in Europe but has recently launched his own project in Africa. An idealist, kind of a hippie, a man of action, always busy, rarely picks up his phone during the day, sometimes calls back past 11 PM, sometimes rarely. Call him multiple times a day. Don't hold back. Age CA 65, but acts much younger. Attached an email, QA with Eric. I take a look. Let's have a look at the interview. Eric sounds like an interesting guy. Kitten Salem is enjoying this. Aw, I'm glad that the kitty cat is enjoying this, Jack. We aren't doing any. We've got nothing on the cards at the moment, Game Raiders, in terms of content with other creators, purely because we have been just other stuff, jobs, etc. Has got in the way. Plus, we don't really know that many other creators outside of you. So yeah, there's that as well. But yeah, anyway, I take a look at the interview with Eric. I read several questions picked at random out of the 57. Many sound familiar after all. I did help the researcher make the list. Okay, so what are the potential dangers of people sailing on a boat? I mean, we know that. What do refugees eat on their journey? Oh, that's interesting. Again, a lot of the information that we're about to read, so like from this stuff, from these research interviews and stuff, were actually done by the team that wrote the game. So what we're about to read, the answers to these questions, are actually like first-hand bits of information that were provided to them, to the team that created the game, which is really cool. And I have wondered, what do refugees eat? Okay, they do not. Well, that took the wind out of that. Those sales pretty fucking quick, didn't it? What are the potential dangers for people sailing on a boat? I mean, you know, sinking and drowning, obviously. Just good to always get that out of the way, though, just to make sure. What is the daily cost of maintaining one immigrant at the camp? This is a question that Suella Braverman is probably going to be a fan of. They are refugees, not immigrants. You can Google it. I like the fact the game is sassing me now. Like, you know, it's so clearly just like, oh, okay, so you're one of those people. Really? You care about the cost, not the human impact. Really? Do you now? Game Raiders, we are about to hit quite a chill time eventually. Me, personally, I'm about to hit a very chill time. because my main job of the year will be wrapped up in a few weeks, and I start my new job on Monday, which hopefully will be a lot more chill. So yeah, we're going to have a wee bit more time. So yeah, definitely drop us. Yeah, we're all on Discord. We're on various Discord channels together, so we'll get some stuff arranged. So yes, look forward to that over the summer months. Robot Republic and the Game Raiders and stuff like we did. We played, I can't remember, the IKEA murder game, which is a really bad way to, it's not a bad way to describe it, but yes, well, more of that, basically. Yeah, time zones are, it depends on the day, Callie. It depends on the day with regard to time zones. What would happen if someone in the camp were a member of ISIS? There is no answer. Do you know any examples of the refugees' creative work, such as poems, songs, or drawings? Yes, all of these. And if so, which ones? Come and see for yourself. The other questions and answers are written in a similar vein. Eric Lee usually gives short yes-no answers to my 3-sentence inquiries and mini-essays. If he has to write a whole sentence, he disregards style, grammar, and punctuation. I mean, this guy's got bigger things on his mind. He's literally running a refugee. It is called Retail Rumble. That's the game. Retail Rumble, not IKEA Murder Game. I think IKEA Murder Game would be a much better idea for a name for a game, but I am aware of the copyright infringements that would be as a result of that. Oh, itchy nose. Bloody hay fever is awful, by the way. If you're a hay fever sufferer, what antihistamines do you take? Because mine are crap. Really itchy nose this year. The answers strike me with their brevity. Their sloppiness doesn't really feel like disrespect to me. Rather, they attest to the constant rush in which Eric lives. He writes in monosyllables because he has more important things to do than explaining the nitty-gritty of the migration crisis to an amateur journalist from Central Europe. The conclusion is simple. Having read a couple of dozen non-fiction books on Africa and the Middle East, I know nothing about refugees. I can't even ask a question worthy of a longer answer. I check out the second set of contact details. I mean, that is true, to be fair. If you read travel guides and books about these countries, they very rarely mention migration, refugees, and this kind of thing. Anyway, I check out the second set of contact details. His name is Isaac, and he's a native Egyptian. His profile reads Isaac, or actually Ishaq Ahmed Mahmoud Ahmed Mohammed. Might have got the pronunciation slightly better there, purely because I had a friend some years ago who actually taught me how to read Arabic names properly. She was amazing and a fantastic English teacher at that. A so-called fixer, someone who lives off his contacts, rather. People say he can get hold of anyone in Alexandria, or at least he says so. He charges for literally everything. It shouldn't surprise you if he bills you, even for picking up. He often disappears for a few days, likely an active member of the criminal underworld. Warning, a shady guy, stay vigilant. Cool, so we've got Eric, a humanitarian, and we've got Ishaq, a shady guy. His personal data is incomplete. The date and place of birth are missing, and there is a cartoon of Robin Hood instead of a photo. It's only his phone number and the detailed address of his place of residence. That's it. Nothing more. That's it. That's all the materials I've got to read. There's only one thing left. I need to answer the simple yet fundamental question at this stage of the trip. How will I spend my first day in Africa? At the back of my head, I still have my publisher's ominous warnings not to fuck around. My itinerary includes just 3 days in Egypt, and the budget is not made of rubber, as Jersey likes to say. As someone who likes to plan, likes to organise shit, but then more often than not, especially on a work-based related outing, we'll just get somewhere, plan the main highlights, and then say, fuck it, let's wing it. We're going to go with fuck it, let's wing it. Fuck it, let's wing it. Yeah. The age-old teenage wisdom, wing it. which loosely translates to stop caring about your duties, do what you want, and even if you get lost along the way and fail to reach your goal, well, at least have fun on your devious paths, and in the end, you'll be happy. Sounds like no plan is possibly the best plan. Impulsively, I decide to have a drink. Decide to get a drink. I wander around the airport for a while, looking for a shop or a restaurant with an alcohol on offer. It turns out, however, that you can't buy an alcoholic drink anywhere in Borg Al Arab. Outside the duty-free zone, the shop clerks and waiters advise me to go to Central Alexandria, where I'll be sure to find a liquor shop. There's at least one in every district, they say. I mean, to be fair, they have bars. Some bars is better than no bars. Prohibition in Egypt. I leave the lounge, go outside the airport building to catch a taxi. Hey, have you got a cigarette? I hear a voice behind me. I'd kill for a smoke. I turn around. A woman of around 30 years old, holding a huge suitcase. Her short hair is dyed blonde, her nose pierced, her neck adorned with cloth bin hung on a shoelace. Hippy-dippy backpacker style. On second thoughts, if she's travelling with a suitcase, can I still call her a backpacker? Yeah, sure, we've got some cigarettes. See, the cigarettes came in handy already. Take a slightly crumpled pack out the side pocket of my backpack. Great. I'm going to repay you in the best way possible, she says, then waves at the first taxi she sees. Opens the door and practically pushes me in. First drink's on me. My name's Antonio, by the way. So begins our search for booze. As the taxi speeds along the highway, I have no idea where we're going. My new backpacker friend, Antonio, whispers the destination to the driver. As we talk about our plans for Egypt, she stops me mid-sentence and with a snicker. Are you telling me that you bought a one-way ticket? To stop herself from laughing, Antonia covers her mouth with her hand, slender as a pianist's. The gesture is surprisingly casual yet dignified. And you're planning to float back to Europe on a raft? Oh, do you know what? She's ripping a piss. And as Callie points out, we have jumped in the car with a random stranger, but we packed cigarettes and condoms. So, you might, for the first time outside of Patreon, which isn't even on Patreon yet, because I have yet to be sent this alleged fanfiction that I'm supposed to be apparently reading at some point. Yeah. We might have some slightly steamy novelization to read. Glad that we labelled these videos as not for kids. Christ. Anyway, yeah, you're going to be like, yeah. See my beard? I grab onto the wild and unkempt fur covering my cheeks. I haven't shaven in a month. These smugglers would never let a foreign journalist onto their boats. The beard is my certification of Syrian authenticity. I did like a refugee. Admit it. She's not going to be impressed. Antonia closes one eye, tilts her head to the side to assess my facial hair situation. I'm more like a hipster. I don't know. Maybe they have different standards in Africa, but you know what? You know what I do know? That I like you. And it begins. The slow dance of adult friendship. About 20 kilometers later, we stop outside a liquor shop. Antonia asks the driver to wait. A moment later, she's back with a bottle of whiskey. It's illegal to drink in public here, she says, and believe me, you don't want to break the law in Egypt. Yeah, it's quite authoritarian. I have an idea. Can we drink right here in the car? No one's going to ID us in the we can drink right here. No one's going to ID us in the car. Antonia smiles. Great minds think alike, she says. I mean, technically a car is not public. Technically a car is in private. 3 swigs later, 3 swigs of whiskey later, under the driver's amused eyes, and even further into who knows where, Antonia's eyes are sparkling with alcoholic excitement. She takes turns listening and speaking, asking and replying. We exchange words, but their meanings do not matter. This is an act of human-to-human understanding. We are 2 strangers joined together for a moment by their need of being seen and being heard. And drunk. $30 on the meter later, we stop at another shop. See, now, I'm not really a big whiskey drinker, but she bought the first bottle of whiskey, and therefore, Um, oh, sorry, I have just glanced at the chat. I've been really bad because we've been trying to get through the game and stuff. I did not know that Matthew Lillard was the purple guy is playing the purple guy in the Five Nights at Freddy movie. That is quite cool. That is quite cool. Do we actually have a release date for that yet? Matthew Lillard, I think he was the killer Game Raiders in the first Scream movie. Way back when, which I love those movies. Like, they are just like silly fun. That's how I describe them. Yeah, Callie's right. He is the OG Scream movie killer. Well, no, because it was two of them, wasn't it? It was him and the other guy. Or am I thinking of a second one? I don't know. It's been a while. Oh, is it 27th of October the FNAF movie's coming out? Oh, cool. Anyway, yeah, we're going to grab some whiskey. I wouldn't want to mix drinks and be dying tomorrow hungover. Officially, I'm at work here. I should at least keep up the appearances. But Tosia, the pet name, she asks me to call her after a few drinks. Oh, hello. We've gone. Oh, how informal. We've gone for pet name already. Has another idea. She buys us 2 beers and a bottle of wine. She has a vision. I'm starting to suspect she has roots in Eastern Europe. I love this. I love the fact that, you know, yeah, she's going to get absolutely trousered. Yep. We chase down the dry muscat with the Pilsner. Oh, God, no. This is like giving me flashbacks of uni. I did this on a night out once. I started with spirits and then moved on to wine and then moved on to beer at the end of the night. And it is, I do not recommend it. It ends badly. We chase down the dry muscat with a Pilsner. As the taxi drifts around the city, the alcohol awakens my artistic sensibilities. I'm flooded with memories of the beatnik literature I read as a teenager, the wild fantasy about a life led from bar to bar, forever on the road, without a job. Adventurers thrown around America by their hitchhiker's luck. For a moment, I forget that the world exists. Inspired, I tell Antonia about Ginsberg's poetry, Kerouac's prose, Dylan's music, fueled by a longing for my teenage fantasy, which I've never lived out. I start a logomaniacal speech, the structureless stream of consciousness, which probably no one understands but me. And yet Tosia's still here, listening patiently. And she seems to understand. Do you think people can still live like that today? She asks. In her question, I sense a drunken hope underpinned by desperation. Do we think that people can still live with this kind of, like, wanderlust and freedom? Probably not, to be fair. Oh, I don't think we can. The world is too oppressive and drifting across the world. We're drifting into more authoritarian, hard right stupidity, unfortunately. So no. No, I think it is impossible, but it is what we are trying to do. Sometimes I imagine this situation. I tell her it's 1 PM on a Wednesday. I'm sitting in my office correcting another contract. Suddenly the sun peers out from behind the clouds. I feel its warm rays on my face. I squint, get up from my desk to close the blinds, and then I notice a bum out in the streets. I'm assuming that would be a hobo or a homeless person, not a literal bottom. A poor victim of his own habit, rambling around the city, hoping to coax enough change out of people for a can of beer. All my civilized reflexes tell me to feel sorry for him, but all I feel is envy because he seems freer than me. I take a sip of my beer, which is going to end badly, by the way. This is going to end real bad. We are going to be like, we are going to, like, carpet bomb this car in Chunder. It is going to be horrible. Because we've been on a flight, and aeroplane food is not that good. From my memory. It's been quite a while since I flew long haul, so it might have improved. I doubt it. It's also not very calorific either. So you've got airport stuff, everything else, and now you've drunk some whiskey and some wine, and now you're on beer. It's just going to end badly. The Jim Henson Creature Shop is making the animatronics. They're making the animatronics for the Five Nights at Freddy movies. Oh. Jim Henson's Creature Shop is one of the literal most incredible places on the planet. I mean, yeah. Jim Henson puppets have been included in so many films. And obviously, the Muppets. Come on. Do you guys know what the Jim Henson Shop is? Of course we do, Game Raiders. We've not been living under... I know the UK seems like we're living under a rock half the time, but we're actually not. Anyway, freer than me. Then I walk away from my window and leave the office without even closing my laptop. Continue my fantasy. I get in the car, start the engine, and start driving. Nowhere specific anywhere. Just for the sake of being on the road. Onwards I drive, not knowing what will happen. If I feel like it, I turn left or right. I drive out the city, pull over in the middle of a bright yellow canola field, and just take it all in, without a plan. Toasty is listening, hypnotized. I pause for a moment. The taxi's roaming around the streets of Alexandria. I've never done it, I confess to her, a little embarrassed. Even though I run my own company, and I'm my own boss, something's still stopping me. You think too much, my backseat neighbour says, smiling encouragingly. Try to turn off your thinking for a moment. Maybe this is why you came to Africa. She stretches out her hand. She closes her fist and opens it up again. Just on impulse, for no reason. For no reason. Oh, okay. Thank you for... I feel affirmed now, Jack. It's been about 11... Wait, where are we now? 23. It's been about 13 years since I flew long haul, and I just remember it being absolutely god-awful. I'm glad that it is just as shit. That is really awesome, though. Thanks, Grain Raiders, for telling me that. I mean, it was kind of like I was probably going to go and watch it anyway. I say that. My partner was probably going to drag me to it. I'm not good with horror movies in the cinema. I made, like... I went to go see Stephen King's It. Part 2, the new one, when it came out in the cinema with my partner, and I jumped, and as I jumped, I went fucking hell, and like half the cinema started laughing, because I don't do well with jump scares at all. And if you are a fan of the channel and you've watched any of our horror and Halloween content, you will know that I don't do well with jump scares, and it's even worse in a public place, because I do jump, and I am quite loud, and I do shout and swear, and people laugh at me. What did I go see recently? I went to go see Evil Dead recently, the new Evil Dead film, which it was okay. It wasn't as good as the older ones. It was an interesting film. It was scary. It was a good horror movie. It just didn't have the kind of campy horrorness that I expect from the Evil Dead films. But yeah, and I jumped in that as well. My friend laughed at me because my friend is a dick. Like all good friends are, to be fair. All good friends should laugh at you if you jump in front of a horror movie in a cinema. Do you know what? Game Raisers, we'd love to come on a talk show, because we used to do podcasts quite a lot on the channel, but time and amount of effort involved. It doesn't take a lot of effort, to be fair, to create a podcast, but the time requirements for us all to kind of be getting together and whatnot to record them was challenging, and it's more challenging now because life gets in the way of these things sometimes. But yeah, we'd love to come on the podcast. Let us know. Anyway, we're going back to the clenching and the unclenching of the fist. Just an impulse for no reason. She looks over her arm from all sides. Then she extends one finger and touches my nose with it. Boop. And my ear. Boop. And my lips. Boop. I hope you're enjoying the boops there, people. I mean, you're drunk. Let's be serious. If you're drunk, you're not going to be like, oh no, I can't do this. You're going to be like, haha, bite. Like an idiot and a cannibal. Her finger slides between my teeth. Now, there are a couple of fans of the channel that I do not see in the chat, and they're going to be very upset with this, that they're missing this, if I'm honest. Because what you're effectively getting now is a slightly better written episode of Pokemon Smash or Pass between two fictional humans. Her finger slides between my teeth. I move my tongue over the delicate fingertip, feeling the hardness of her nail. The touch sends a thrill all over my body. It is fresh and intense, like in high school. Meanwhile, my brain is in a state of panic, multiplying questions and doubts, trying to rationalize the strangeness of my position. Can the driver see us? What is he thinking? How is the situation going to unfold? I'm lucky that I packed these condoms. My lips let go of Tosia's fingers. I tilt my head to the side, looking at her foggily, excitedly. Her cheeks are glowing pink. Now, we've got two choices. We can do the introspective, or we can just go for the straight-on kiss. Now, in these situations, I'm always more of a, no, we sit back and we wait. Because if you go and kiss her right now, you're in the back of a taxi, for one. And it just seems a bit too forward. My mind doesn't know what's going on right now. It has no idea what's going to happen next. But my body knows what to do, oh dear. Pushed by my instincts, I lean over to Tosia. I put my lips on hers. We start kissing like animals in the back of a goddamn taxi with the driver watching! Fuck it. Apparently we're absolutely twatted. Passionate and wild. Reckless. Free. Tosia bites my tongue gently. I pull back and see her smiling. Her eyes sparkle playfully. My breaths are deep and my heart is racing. I'm waiting. She tucks her hair behind her ear and adjusts her jeans over her thighs. She raises her head and speaks to the driver. She gives him the address of a hotel. Never had sex on a first date, says the character. Until today, that is. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're moving past the steamy section, apparently. So, insert steamy section here. I wake up before dawn feeling like I've forgotten something. Shit, I was supposed to call my publisher. As soon as I check into my hotel, I kiss my sleeping lover hurriedly and head out. Still groggy, out in the street, I realise that we never exchanged numbers. But as I check in at the desk, I find Antonia's business card in my wallet with her number underlined. I smile. Callie's apparently all for the driver watching that very intense make-out session in the back of a cab, which led to some hotel coitus. I smile. I feel a rush of endorphins. It's too early to call my publisher, but it would be a sin to waste all of that energy. I feel like writing. I can sense the freshness of my thoughts. I reach for my notebook and look through today's entries. Which ones should I elaborate on? Egypt's first impressions? Prohibition? Or close the notebook and put the pen down? What do we think, chap? What do we think? As I'm at a bit of an impasse. First impressions of Egypt, nice, beautiful, gorgeous, kind of like, is probably going to be very positive. Or we can jump straight into the... Or we jump into something a little bit more brutal. Ooh, part of me thinks that first impression... Oh, excuse me. From a writing perspective, I go down the first impressions kind of route. Oh, we get some first impressions. We set the scene of Egypt as a lovely place. Callie's saying prohibition, though. Fuck it, we're going to go with prohibition, then. I remember my arduous soul for alcohol. The hypocrisy of the Muslim world never ceases to amaze me. Well, that's a very blunt statement for the game to make. Officially, Egypt has banned the sale of alcohol to an extent. Hard drinks are available in hotel restaurants. And rare liquor stores, the need to get wasted trumps the law, of course. So the market keeps finding loopholes in the system. Therefore, the locals are great enthusiasts of duty-free shops at airports, the eagerness with which they cruise the alcohol aisles. In several paragraphs, I talk about the absurdities of the semi-prohibition in Egypt. Move on to another entry. I read through my draft a few times over so that I can enjoy the melody of the sentences. Then, I wonder if I'd like to expand on something else tonight. Egypt. First impressions. I tried to recall my first impressions of Egypt after landing in... Egypt, the airport. Focus on the people. For our paragraph pertaining to the people I met, I look for some universal themes which would connect the Muslim and European countries. Have we got another entry? I read my draft a few times over so I can enjoy the melody of sentences, then I wonder if I'd like to expand on something else. I close my notebook, put the pen down. That's enough for today. I don't need to write anything else. Feeling like I fulfilled my literary duties and others, am I right? I can finally go to bed. Whew, that was an exciting first day, wasn't it? Callie's like, prohibition, you're not a travel blogger. Yeah, that is very true. Relaxation and hunger have been removed. Chapter 3. We were going to have a look at the notebook, weren't we? What is a notebook? Ooh. And then we've got tags. We've got character tags, empathy. Cigarette tides, the condoms. See, now I'm thinking, like, had we not bought the cigarettes and the condoms, we would not have had the steamy back of the cab moment. Anyway, some documents came for you from the tax office. Guess I sent them to your old address. The voice seems familiar. Mum? No, that's impossible. All I see is darkness. Muddled thoughts in my head. This isn't making sense. I think I'm asleep. You know, to the house in Zalessi, the voice continues. There was some mix-up, I think. I answer in my sleep. Mum? I'm trying to sleep, I answer in my sleep. Did I wake you up? I hear her ask. Sorry. I'll check up on you tomorrow. I open my eyes. I'm in my hotel room. No family members in sight. Whew, what a relief. So far, so good. In the morning, when I'm on my way to work, why can I still hear her voice? I'll leave the papers with you, and we'll go out for a coffee. What do you say? What's going on? I look around. Oh, I'm holding my phone to my ear. Must have picked it up in my sleep. Turns out I'm not dreaming after all. Oh shit, we're on this shit. What does this mean she'll come by tomorrow? I'm in Egypt. Suddenly I'm thinking straight again. Right, I haven't told her about Africa on purpose. She would have held a sit or a hunger strike in my doorway to prevent me from going. What time is good for you? 7? Take a moment to think. I mean, just be honest with your mum. You're an adult, for goodness sake. You probably Game Raiders. You would sit in the back of the cab and instead of kissing, you'd have a mental breakdown for 0.5 seconds and ingest the pills. Yeah, that is probably what happened, to be fair. You're like, oh, have you got any cigarettes? No, but I've got some antidepressants. She'd have been like, nah. Although, where are you going? I'm going to, do you want to share a cab? Then we can split the cost. Wouldn't have been any fun stuff. It would have just been a boring old cab drive. Take a moment to think about how to get out of this. Oh, tell her the truth. You're a grown man. What's she going to do? You're literally in Egypt right now. Oh, she can tell you to come back, but, well, screw it. Do you know what? You're a grown man. Sorry, but if I ever went to Africa, my mum wouldn't, to be fair. If I said to my mum, oh, by the way, I'm going to Africa to go and, like, you know, get some experiential stuff with refugees, my mum would just look at me and be like, why? I'd be like, I don't know, I'm going to write a book or a video game about it. She'd be like, alright, don't die. And if you do die, make sure that everything decent's left to me in the will, at which point my response will be, cool, you're officially now the guardian of my chinchillas. I said that to be fair, my partner would get everything, so, you know, yeah. Anyway, I tell her the truth. I'm not in Warsaw, I've gone to Africa. Well, come back right this minute. She reacts immediately. Well, you still can. Why didn't you tell me? Where exactly are you? I'm booking you a flight back to Warsaw as we speak. It's not a bad idea to talk to your mum about Egypt. Just be like, yeah, well, I'm in Egypt, mum. Deal with it. You know what? Yeah. Why is it not a third choice? It's just like, do you know what, mum? I'm grown up. Chill out, please. I'm an accountant in Egypt. You do the math, mum, and then just hang up and leave it to it. Anyway. Introducing a new antidepressant. Yep, that would be quite funny, to be fair. Mum's fears fall on fertile ground. I'm getting anxious myself. Africa is unpredictable, unstable political situations, religious fundamentalists, local warlords, and that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to danger. Also, I've heard. Play down the threats. Each year, millions of tourists visit Africa, I explain. We don't hear about daily murders and kidnappings in the media for a good, very simple reason. Street shootings in the US probably claim more lives than trips to Africa, which arguably is true in terms of media reporting. There are a lot of things that do happen in African countries, but yeah. Our fear of Africa is based on superstition. I conclude my tirade just like the anti-vaccine movement, or don't even get me started on vaccines, or we're spending the holiday apart again. Mum interrupts. This isn't even about me being scared that you're well. The fact that you're there does frighten me. You took a surprise trip to Africa, and I don't like it. Well, tough shit. You are... Oh, mothers like this are... Overbearing mothers are the worst. I am really lucky that I do not have an overbearing mother, but I have a friend who has a very overbearing mother. And I have told that friend on numerous occasions just to tell her to shut up and do one. I mean, seriously. Yeah. But first and foremost, you shouldn't be travelling right now. The whole world's under threat. Obviously because of COVID, because January 2020. Yeah, this is pre-global lockdown as well. Because those were fun years that we all remember with such fond I actually do what? COVID was awful. But COVID is one of the reasons that I decided to completely change my direction in life, and is why I am now bringing you this wonderful piece of game stream infotainment-y stuff. I call this infotainment. It's entertainment, but it's mildly informative, hence infotainment. Yeah, I kind of realised that my job wasn't providing me any work-life balance and was sucking most of the joy out of my life, and I then decided to make a significant change. And I made these decisions during COVID because of lockdown forced me to work from home, and then I had a work-life balance. And I was like, what is this? I can spend time with my partner, we can go for dog walks, I can play video games, I have the time to do things that aren't just work. And, well, yeah, long story short, I joined the Robot Republic team. There we go. That's it and all about it. I don't feel like listening to another conspiracy. I'm not going to be there. Not now, Mum. I'm running late for a meeting. I say, bending the truth only slightly. I leave out the fact that I need to make the appointment first. I have to go. It'll be fine. Bye. I hang up. I close my eyes. I inhale deeply. I want to calm down my breath. And then I go to the bathroom. Take a morning piss. Very important that one. I wash my hands, look up at the mirror. I don't recognise my reflection. Face is covered with an unkempt beard several weeks old. It's a way to hide my European features, to better resemble a refugee. It's time to make use of my camouflage. Let's get to work. I put on the white hotel bathrobe, leave the room, and take the elevator to the ground floor. The hotel buffet serves breakfast all day, and it's really hard to work on an empty stomach. Oh my god, yes. So... all of the ads are generated by the ads for antidepressants are like they're generated by AI. That is amazing. See, we're not allowed because healthcare is nationalised in the UK, and we don't have overbearing drug companies. You're not the adverts you get are for certain brands of paracetamol, painkillers, aspirin, and certain brands of like antacids, and that's about as far as it goes. Even corporate entities have a sense of humor here. Yeah, even corporate entities do have a sense of humor when they're just like, here's an antidepressant. You feel really down and low, take one of these, and all of a sudden you can break dance down the street. Gourmet special. Obviously, gourmet special. Today's gourmet special. I asked the waiter to recommend something. 15 minutes past, and he brings me poached eggs on parmesan encrusted asparagus garnished with a little lime zest and served on toast on a toasted bulgur and mint salad. I'm sorry. Wow. I know what I'm having for breakfast on Saturday morning. I have to go to the shops now. Buy some stuff. That sounds bloody amazing. Just water for me, thank you. I don't want to lose any of the flavours. I mean, yeah, definitely. The golden yolk swirls around the plate and thickens lightly when it touches the steaming asparagus. Straight from under the broiler. Oh my god, the freshness of the mint finds a pleasant nutty counterpoint in the bulgur. The dressing must be tahini based. It's an intriguing idea, inspiring and local too. My culinary exultation makes me reach for my notebook as I taste. Each bite, I jot down my thoughts. I am enjoying every second of this. The meal takes over an hour. But it is worth it. I'm 7 paragraphs deep into my morning gastronomical odyssey. We have become a travel. This is food porn. This is food porn. This is absolutely food porn. And I am really fucking hungry right now. I feel like a Bloody Mary would go really good with this particular meal. God, that sounds so good. Anyway. I can finally start work. I look through my notebook and the folder with local contacts to summarise what I've managed to do so far. One day has gone by in Africa, and I haven't yet tracked down a refugee who could lead me to the smugglers. I have one more night left in Alexandria, so if I don't want to pay out of pocket, I need to check out by noon tomorrow. All I have is this day and tomorrow morning. It's crunch time. So far, I mean, to be fair, we probably shouldn't be spending all this time eating this gorgeous, delicious breakfast. Our publisher is going to get really pissed off. Think about what I've managed to accomplish so far. Sleep with a European backpacker is something we have achieved. We have also eaten well. I know I found a refugee, but my palate can't complain about the lack of sensations. I mean, technically we have drunk local wine, whiskey, and beer, and we have now had what sounds like a genuinely gorgeous breakfast. I'm actually going to have to write that down. I do apologise, those of you that are currently sitting here like, what is going on? I'm actually getting a scrap of paper to write this down. So it's poached eggs. Oh no, my pen's run out of ink. Parmesan, asparagus. Callie is going to be watching this just like, what are you actually doing? You have paused the fucking stream to write down the recipe of a food thing in a video game. I mean, to be fair, I have like the Final Fantasy XIV cookbook. I mean, it's crunch time sounds like a food-based superhero's catchphrase, to be honest, Game Raiders. Where are we? Parmesan encrusted asparagus, lime zest. Lime zest on bulgur mint salad. Right, cool. Well, I've made a note of that. I need to find my array of post-it notes, to be fair, because I can't keep using scraps of paper like this. That sounds freaking amazing. Hibiscus is the devil's plant. Hello, Mr. K. Why is hibiscus the devil's plant, Mr. K? I mean, that's not all we've achieved. That's not all I did yesterday. The profits and loss balance goes on. I've also managed to sleep with a European backpacker. Engage in a drunken sexcapade. Ha, sexcapade. I haven't heard that in ages. A drunken sexcapade with a European backpacker, and have my libido stand in the way of my search for a refugee. Yeah, when one thinks about it, not meet Isaac, the man who supposedly knows everyone in Egypt. There is a silver lining to that fact, though. At least I haven't managed to alienate him like I did Eric. We are pretty screwed right now. We have made some poor choices up to this point. That's all I can come up with. It's not great. At this point, I'm screwed. The book is not coming together so far. I can't afford to be so relaxed and nonchalant today. From now on, I need to plan every step. I'll set up a meeting with Eric. Is the humanitarian bloke. Isaac is the shady bloke. What do we think, chat? Do we want to... The shady bloke apparently knows everybody in Alexandria. I might, maybe, probably not. I don't know if he will or won't. Eric is the humanitarian. What do we think? Lemons. Lemons and lemons. Lemons are in the chat. Why have we got lemons in the chat? Is this what the Robot Republic community is doing, as opposed to F's in the chat, where lemons in the chat now? I just have missed something. He's stillmatic, systematic, automatic, Mr. K. He is automatic. We're gonna have a little bit of grease going on. Love it. Absolutely love it. Edit Kelly saying go with Isaac. We're gonna go with Isaac then. I'll call Isaac. 1 beep, 2 5, nothing. Voicemail. I try again, and it goes exactly the same way. Screw it. We'll have it. I dial Eric's number. Set up a meeting. I hear beep once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5. The number you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the tone. I call again. Ugh. Right, you know what? We're going to make an appointment with Isaac. We're going to go visit him. I have no more time to wait for someone to bother picking up one of my calls. It's time to check if Isaac really does know everyone in the city. If this guy doesn't put me in touch with a refugee, we're afraid that no one in Alexandria can. Full of determination. Combustible lemons. I'm not going to lie, Game Raiders. I read that as cornbustable. And that is because I am clearly stupid. And then I was like, what the hell is a corn-bustable lemon? And, well, here we are, really. I shouldn't probably admit that. Full of determination, I leave the hotel restaurant and go to my room to pack before I head to Isaac's. I get into the elevator. Classical music is humming in the little speakers. I reach the 9th floor. The doors slide open. I head to my room. I take a quick shower, get dressed, and call a taxi. Half an hour later, I'm there. Isaac's place. Taxi takes me to Isaac's place in an upmarket touristy district in the centre of the city. I pass the cafe located right by the front door of his building. I get to the front door. I call his apartment number on the intercom. Hello, a voice says. Who's there? I introduce myself for a moment's pause. There's a moment's pause. Oh, you're Urik's guy, the mysterious speaker realizes. 4th floor. Beep. The door goes. As I open it. Beep goes the door as I open it. I enter the staircase. Finally, success. Excited, I run to the 4th floor, hopping 3 stairs at a time. The door to Isaac's apartment is ajar. I walk in, and I come face to face with a man wearing his briefs. The artwork in this game is stunning. That guy looked kind of terrifying, I'm not going to lie. I was initially like, oh, a man in his briefs, but nope. He's around 30, completely unfazed by his near nudity. He ushers me in. With a wave of his hand, he's plump and short, his figure almost resembling a soccer ball. His hefty gut is partially covered by a stale, unbuttoned shirt, which looks like he wore it to sleep. What brings you here, my friend? Asks Isaac, yawning widely. At such an ungodly hour. I glance at my watch. It's 9 AM. I'm here on business. I explained that I'm here to do business with him. I need information. Excellent information and business are my speciality. I don't know why this man sounds Cockney, by the way. He would not sound Cockney in real life, but frankly, that's what we're going with. So apparently this is now a Cockney-sounding Egyptian man. Wonderful. Alexandrian? Alexandriite? Alexandrian. We're going to go with an... Yeah. Bloke looks like Chef Boyardee. He does look like Chef Boyardee. Amazing. Thank you, Game Raiders. That has made that slightly more amusing. This is like, you know, Jason Statham when he gets fat. You know, Vin Diesel after the third part of the Final Fast franchise film when he just gives up acting and becomes a fat guy. Let me tell you what happens next. You get your wallet out ready and accept that you may have to go down to the ATM. Information is dear and the price is higher before noon, he announces. In the meantime, I'll get ready for our conversation. Though some consider me to be a man of no principles, I have my code. I don't do business before my morning shit. And he locks himself in the bathroom. Nice, what a pleasant man. That is an exercise bike that does not get used. I am just saying that. It's literally being used as a clothes horse. I am alone. I am left alone in an entertainment room with a 3-seater sofa, a large flat-screen television, a solid bar stacked with bottles of expensive liquor, and an exercise bike which is clearly going unused, or rather is used as a clothes hanger. Not a single book. It's a bit weird that he's just let a stranger into his apartment. I'm not gonna lie. Vin Diesel after the Golden Corral buffet. Yes, he is Vin Diesel after the Golden Corral buffet following the end of the Fast franchise when he has no more acting jobs. I love Vin Diesel. I do love Vin Diesel. It's a bit weird that Isaac just let a stranger into his flat, enter his flat, and then left him, me, unattended. Seems like my publisher's word is enough for him to trust me. We're not going to take a tour of the apartment of a dangerous man currently going for a shit. We're just going to sit on the couch and wait. I sit down on the couch and wait, trying to gain Isaac's trust with my patience, and yet, with each passing moment, a vague anxiety continues to rise within me. Time is dragging, and my gaze roams around the living room to the accompaniment of defectory noises from the bathroom. Nice. We can hear him literally taking a poo. On the surface, the interior appears to be merely utilitarian, almost austere. Like number 10 Downing Street, I would imagine. There are few accessories or personal belongings. Each object seems to have its practical use, or at least that's what I think, until I see a small glass display box hung on the wall in the corner. First, I mistake it for a decoration, a painting maybe. After a closer look, it turns out to be a framed newspaper clipping. It's been cut out of the front page of the Cairo Journal from January 2011. The black and white press photo depicts a group of young people leading a crowd of protesters. Some have scratches on their foreheads, bloody hands and torn shirts. Among the young men, I notice a slightly pudgy 24-year-old whose facial features bear a striking resemblance to Isaac's. I also recognise the location. It's Cairo's Tahrir Square. I've seen a documentary about it. It's become a symbol for the revolution which brought down President Mubarak. The hundreds of hours I devoted to research before I left finally came in handy. A telephone rings, interrupting my exploration. Could you pass me my iPhone? Isaac shouts from the bathroom. I follow the sound of the ringtone to the coffee table in the living room. Isaac cracks the bathroom door open. He's squatting over a hole in the floor where a toilet would normally be installed. He seems unfazed. I pass him the phone. My nostrils are instantly clogged with the stench of shit, stale and perfumed. Great. Wonderful. That's a hungover person's shit after a night of heavy drinking. Clearly, Isaac must have had an entertaining evening. I close the door and listen in on the conversation. I'm lucky he's speaking English. I have a guest now, he says. No, not that kind. Never before noon. Walla. Not if I can help it. Well, maybe it can be done. I need to stop by the Brotherhood first. None of your business. I don't need to explain myself. If you don't like it, go elsewhere. Yeah, I'll be there. The splash of a toilet flushing. At least that's what I think at first, but then Isaac's squat toilet may just have a bidet hose attached. I go back to the couch. Meanwhile, Isaac gets out of the bathroom refreshed and feeling like $1 million. I've taken my shit, he announces. Just glance at the chat real quick. Callie is absolutely loving this. Oh wait, no. Callie is saying that the Riddick game is amazing. The Riddick game is a really good game, to be fair. Although something Athena, something I can't remember. It's been a hot minute. But my plans have changed. I'm gonna go out for a walk and talk on the way. I have some errands to run. That's not what we agreed. I'd rather stick to the original plan. My time in Alexandria is limited. Each minute is worth its weight in gold. You think my time isn't precious? Well, it is. Write that down. Plans change. It's not my fault. I am a businessman. And business is like water, ever flowing. You know what's every businessman's motto? Panta Ray. All is in flux. Come on, let's get out of here. I'll give you a discount to cheer you up. Hey, we got a discount, but thank you very much. It is Dark Athena. Butcher Bay is the first one. That's what I was thinking of. Dark Athena. That's fine by me. I briefly explained my needs to Isaac. I'm looking for a refugee who's planning to cross the Med illegally. Let's get out of business then. We'll find him, Isaac says, smiling. Then he returns to the bathroom. Make yourself comfortable. I'll take a shower. I mean, at this point, I would probably be like, do you know what? You're taking a piss now, mate. You've had an excessively long poo. And now you're taking a shower. We're going to grit teeth. Patience is a virtue. 15 minutes pass, then twice that. I'm starting to wonder if Isaac has made a run through the window. Can still hear the water, though. Finally, the door unlocks and he walks out with the towel around his hips, relaxed and fragrant with argan oil. Can we go now? Why, yes, certainly, he replies. Let me just get dressed. We won't be pick. I mean, let's be serious now, it's going to take longer if we don't help him pick. I agree, this absurd situation may take longer if I don't help. We head to the bedroom. Isaac opens a built-in wardrobe. Motionless, he contemplates its contents, frustrated and impatient. I look over his shoulder to speed up the process and make the choice for him. Probably an Arabic tunic. I point to the hanger of the men's tunic on it, a classic Arabic garment. Isaac snorts. The Muslim Brotherhood would think I'm trying to get on their good side, and anyone else would take me for a neophyte from the Brotherhood. Both would suspect I've lost my mind. Right, fine, Hawaiian fucking shirt it is then, you dickhead. I suggest he wears the Hawaiian shirt with palm trees and coconuts. Splendid idea! How about a pair of flip-flops to match? And we'll go right to the beach. Can you imagine me handing over bribes in this? They would charge me twice the amount just for my ridiculous attire. A sports long sleeve. I pull a sports long sleeve made of slippery fabric off the shelf. Isaac squeezes it around his belly into a tight shirt. He checks himself out in the mirror. He looks grotesque. If you are a more rotund individual, don't wear skin-tight clothing because it kind of clings in bad places. Bad-fitting clothing is always better. Game Raiders, I swear he's about to take a crap again. I thought that when he was like, I need to go take a shower. And then it was just like, oh, I heard more defecatory noises as he was taking yet another shit. Anyway, too many memories. Too many memories. He judges finally. Bought it when I still believed I'd ever use the training bike. And I haven't for 3 years. I hate bad investments. I give up. I have no more ideas. You know nothing, Jon Snow, says Isaac, quoting the hit HBO series. And he gives me a friendly pat on the shoulder. He opens the other wardrobe and pulls out an iron-tailored suit. That's business attire. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. For fuck's sake. He laughs, and I feel pissed. If he knew what he was going to wear all along, why the fuck did he need my help? It's more fun, you see, he replied, sliding into his jacket. You're great to piss off. So funny when your ears get all red. 3 hours passed between the moment I met Isaac and when he finally showered, suited up, and ready to leave. The front door, he checked himself out in the mirror one last time and freezes with a disturbed look on his face. Shit, I haven't shaved. This guy is a fucking grifter. This guy is like Nigel Farage level grifter. I mean that. This guy is literally ripping the piss right now. My palm spontaneously curls up into a fist. I'm about to hit this man right in his smug face. If we waste even a minute more. I'm joking, he says, laughing. Let's go. We're late anyway. So we had to go through the whole spa experience only to be late to a meeting. Jokes again, exclaims Isaac cheerfully and pats me on the shoulder. We're not late. We've got plenty of time. Perfect for a relaxing walk. He leads me out onto the staircase. Once he's out of the apartment, his previously lethargic demeanour gives way to a lively energy. 3 stops, he says, bouncing down the stairs peppily. The Muslim Brotherhood, my business partner, the Syrians, and so religious fundamentalists, the escapees who fear them, and the bridge that keeps it all together. You're about to see a cross-section of Alexandria. You won't be disappointed. See, we've also got Wendy's. I actually read an article the other day, actually, because obviously we've got Taco Bell's in the UK now, but there's a near-ish, I say near-ish, about an hour drive to the county. And the county is quite a large county. In the UK, we've now got a Wendy's, which I feel the need to drive to at some point in the nearest future. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to walk out. We walk out onto a busy street. At this time of day, it's full of local passers-by and tourists. Isaac stops for a moment and takes a deep breath of fresh air. Exhaust fumes, sweat and bubbling oil. This is the smell of home, my beloved Alexandria, the city of possibilities and wasted hopes. Disappointment is so lucrative. I want an international house of pancakes in the UK as well, Callie. Or I also don't, because if we had IHOPs in the UK, I would get real fat real quick. Because there is no food better than breakfast food. Anyway, I noticed several people, mostly the vendors at the local fruit and souvenir stores, are looking at us and murmuring outraged remarks under their breath, as if Isaac's presence is controversial and scandalising in some way. I glance at the waiter talking to a police patrol at the local cafe. He looks away. Yeah, IHOP looks really good, and for a Brit where we don't really have huge volume, like we've got like, you know, cafes and whatnot. Shit. We've missed a load of important stuff. Pause. Oh no, that's not what we wanted. Right, we're going to have to do some speed reading. And finally, we're off a few minutes before 1 PM. We managed to leave Isaac's neighbourhood. Low-rise tenement houses grow into high-rise apartment buildings. Narrow streets. Isaac's steps is vigorous. He is setting a pace. A hotel, a bank, a McDonald's. Isaac's phone is constantly ringing, not giving us time to talk. A post office, a hotel, a grocery shop. I feel like a tourist, not a reporter. Isaac isn't the best guide. I might as well be walking the streets of Alexandria alone. I would have learned a little about the city as I am. I would have learned a little about the city as I am now. Finally, Isaac stops chatting on his phone. I ask him about the participation in the protest at Tahrir Square. I saw a frame clipping and the photo. Isaac winces at memory. Youth mistakes, he replies. I was so naive, I believed that the change was possible. Meanwhile, we replaced a dictator with a military regime. We talk a moment about the revolution for a moment. The walk seems to be boring him now. He asks what exactly I'm planning to describe in my book. We talk about my project. I remind him that I'm looking for someone to put me in touch with smugglers so that I can cross the Med. When will he help me with that? Isaac dodges the question. He wonders why I've only come to Africa now. It's 2020. No one cares about the refugees anymore. That's exactly why. We pass by the heavily littered Shalala Gardens. The ruins of an ancient Alexandrian walls peek out from among the green. We stop at a tall apartment building near the park. Isaac asks me not to move. He'll just pop in and pick something up. from his business partners are we, and when are we going to deal with my business? In due time, Isaac shrugs and disappears in the belly of the building. 5 minutes pass. The city cat walks up and softly rubs my leg, asking for food or affection. I think of Engels. How is Engels doing without me? Is Hella taking good care of him? Remember that I was supposed to text her when I landed in Egypt. Ah, we're going to text Hella. Isaac comes back carrying a travel backpack, which he apparently picked up from his business partner. He announces 2 more stops, the Brotherhood and the Syrians. We move on. Isaac gets chatty. Did you know that only 3% of Egypt's land is habitable? The rest is desert. That's like stuffing 100 million people into an area the size of Belgium. The Nile is the country's Livestream. Most cities grew around it. Meanwhile, the desert acts as a wall protecting us from invasion. Our soft underbelly is the Mediterranean Sea. We don't have the fleet to defend the shores. That's how the British conquered us. Still nothing about refugees or smugglers. Patience. Isaac pacifies me. The air seems fresher and more invigorating. I think we're approaching the sea. The street crowd thickens again. A port neighbourhood full of tall apartment buildings. We stop outside a mosque. Done quite the walk, to be fair. The Abu al-Abbas al-Musi Mosque, says Isaac, pointing at the majestic edifice with a 70-metre tall minaret pointing to the sky. The architectural pearl of Alexandria. Other places my friends reside in are decidedly less palatial. We turn into a side street. Isaac reaches an old building with paint peeling off its walls. They're currently going through a rough patch, he explains. They were banned in 2014. There's nothing new in Egypt. Ever since the Brotherhood was started nearly 100 years ago, they've been fluctuating between illegality and illegality. Yeah, to be fair, America sounds awesome. Like, from what I've seen in, like, television shows, sitcoms, and, like, you know, travel documentaries and whatnot, American breakfast scene is, like, the tits. Like, we have cafes that do the full English, and a full you can't go wrong with the full English, but for variety, I think America does win. And hash browns are awesome, like proper hash browns as well. Anyway, watch this for me, please. Isaac hands me his backpack. I better walk in by myself. The brothers may frown upon a heathen like you. Best case scenario, you'd fuck my business up. Do you know what? I'm not even going to argue this. Isaac enters the building and I stay outside with his backpack. I look at my watch, it's 4 PM. I have 20 hours to vacate my hotel room. Meanwhile, I'm standing on the sidewalk waiting for some shady type to do his shady business with the shady Brotherhood, watching a suspicious package. I feel I've completely lost control over my fate. Time's slipping through my fingers. Okay, we are not peeking into the... No, we're going to Google the Muslim Brotherhood. I feel like that's a slightly thing. I fight my boredom and counter the panic sprouting in my stomach. I Googled the Muslim Brotherhood. Established in 1920, the organisation has accomplished both the construction of schools as well as several assassination attempts against politicians, including a successful one. Repeatedly faced illegalization, a long period of acting as the legal parliamentary opposition, 2 years as a majority of the Egyptian parliament, and has been accused of terrorism, aid to the poorest members of society. Wonderful. Having read several articles, I know one thing: the Muslim Brotherhood has 8,000 faces. Too bad I had to look them up while simultaneously standing right outside the seat. When I arrived in Africa, I expected many surprises. I would never have guessed, though, that I would be learning about it through a screen, just like I did in Europe. Friend, I can help you with something. Oh, friend, I can help you with something, an old man asks passing by. You look worried. He appears to be about 70 and homeless, judging by his long, yellowed, grey beard, torn clothing, and bare feet. Though it's broken and ungrammatical, he can definitely speak English. This may be the impact of the British colonisation and older generations of Egyptians. I don't need anything, apart from being left alone. You sure? The old man persists. You seem really worried. I no wonder. What life we got here in Egypt. You know, what your average Iraqi earns. You know that your average Iraqi earns twice what an Egyptian earns. We are the proud country of pharaohs, but the poor men from a war-torn desert are richer than us. You came here hoping for a better life, and you finished like everybody else, in the streets. Where you run from, my friend? Where you run from, friend? And when I don't give him an answer, he resumes in Arabic, Syria, Georgia. Has he mistaken me for a refugee? Incredible. He must have mistaken me for a refugee. I haven't even put on my local garb. My 2-month-old beard is apparently doing the job. The itching was worth it. Or is it all due to the old man's poor eyesight? I go along with it. He's an old man. We're going to humour him. Doesn't matter. Fortune is smiling at me for the first time since I came to Egypt. I can't miss this chance. I lie that I'm Syrian and make up a story for the old man. What a tragedy, he says. Your accent's a bit funny, I should say, but I will ask no questions. All stories are different, and all are strange. We're all living here as if we were less than human. No chance, no hopes, and Europe is right next to us. Well-fed, fat even. All you need is some courage, no money. Me, I'm old, but you... What have you got to lose? My brother can help you. He knows the sea, he knows how to avoid patrols. He has helped many. I'm stunned. It seems that I'm accidentally found a connection to a refugee smuggler. This opportunity may not happen again. What's going on here? I hear Isaac's voice say. As the door of the building closes behind him, he approaches and stands between me and the old man. Come, don't talk to this old goat. He's a con artist. Excuse me? The old man says, indignant. This is none of your business. We were talking politely. Get lost, beggar, or I'll call the police, Isaac says, pulling me away. Don't listen to a word he says. What do we think, chat? Are we sticking with the old man, or are we listening to Isaac? Vin Diesel the Third. Oh, Jack, that's adorable. You've got a little kitty cat snoring on you. But yeah, what do we think? Mr. Clean. Old man. Callie's saying old man. We're going to resist Isaac. We're going to go with the old man. I resist. I've spent half a day waiting for Isaac to run his errands, and now he has the gall to interrupt just as something interesting is starting to happen. I want to finish my conversation with the old man. I ask him to put me in touch with the smuggler. Let him introduce me to his brother. The old man takes an ancient Nokia out of the folds of his rags. Give me your number, he says. I will send you mine. Don't give him anything, Isaac intervenes, or you'll never get rid of him. Oh, fuck off, Isaac. Isaac's not the boss of me. I give the old man my number. A minute later, I get a text with an Egyptian number in it. That's the old man's brother. All done? Isaac asks, looking at me disapprovingly. Let's go, then. Leave the old man behind and follow my apparent guide. Old man. Yeah, old man. Yeah, cool. I know him. He hangs around here. He's a brotherhood sympathiser, Isaac explains. And a fucking fascist. He hates everything that's not Egyptian, especially the refugees. He believes they're ruining his motherland. He pretends to be friendly and caring, promises to help you cross. And then he and his buddies pack people into dilapidated boats and send them off to sea. They don't care if you get there or drown. They just want to get rid of the migrants and earn money doing it. And you don't, Isaac? And you don't earn money off the refugee plight? I do, of course. But I'm not sending anyone to a certain death. He and his kind are the worst scum. At least I do it for the money. For the likes of him, the money is just a perk of the extermination program they're running. He doesn't even consider them people. Listen, Isaac says, more matter-of-factly and less emotionally. From the outside, it may look different. You may think I'm ignoring you, but it's not like that. I'm working on it, thinking as I go, coming up with solutions, scanning my network in my brain, testing out scenarios, comparing effects and effect projections. I've been thinking about how to help you all day, and I've thought this through. I have a plan. Marco's 35. He's from South Sudan, Isaac says, ramping up the pace of the walk. The country has been around at the top of the Fragile States Index for years. Kalashnikov carrying gangs wander the dirt roads. Militiamen and rebels invade villages by night, pillaging, stealing food, raping and murdering. The Sudanese often don't know who it is trying to kill them on a given day. Chaos and anarchy rule. If you happen to live there, what's your choice? Run. This is where we're going to start hitting the emotional gut punches, because the honest part of this is going to be that these people have no choice but to run, because humanitarian aid is not going to be enough. And putting up with it just means you're going to get murdered or raped. Marco thought he only had one choice: stay in Sudan and get by. He felt responsible for his wife, for his 5 kids, most of all, his old and ailing parents. I had no chance to survive and escape to the neighbouring Uganda. The trek to the border takes several days, so he stayed in his own village and worked the land to feed his family. The country was already facing famine. When his youngest son died of malnutrition, Marco needed to rethink his strategy. What would he do? I want to think he'd go for humanitarian aid camps, but I'm still going by he's probably going to get to a point where he's going to run. Marco decided he had to work harder. He spent his days in the fields, then he got hired at a farm and started commuting there. He would be home for weeks. He wouldn't be home for weeks. One day he returned to his village and found no one. Just corpses. They were all killed. And he didn't even know who was to blame. Wow. Again, these are all true stories that the developers heard and researched and kind of had first accounts for during the game. That is kind of numbing. When he didn't think about that, he decided to run. Now he truly had nothing to lose, no one to care for, no one to feed. For weeks, he walked through his fallen, war-torn country. At the exhausting march, he didn't forget about his suffering. He walked along the Nile, numb. He wasn't counting time. Until he got to Egypt, specifically Alexandria. He reached the sea and couldn't walk any further, so he settled down, months turned into years. He had to support himself somehow. First he looked for a legal job, but no one wanted to employ a refugee. Starvation pushed him into illegal work. Sometimes he was paid, sometimes he was cheated. It was what it was for Marco. And how did Marco react? He didn't get angry, he didn't rebel, he didn't fight the world. That's life, he decided. Difficult and unfair. And if he, a man in his prime, gets his wages stolen, there must be weaker, poorer individuals who suffer even more. The sick, the old, people who don't have much energy to cope on their own. He found the time to volunteer. That's how he met Cedra, a Syrian mother of 3. She lost her husband in the bombing of Damascus. Marco and Cedra moved in together. The kids are not his, but he treats them as if they were. He works to support them, he feeds them, he feels needed again. And he needs to be needed, otherwise the grief for the loss of his family would eat him up from the inside. Now he's responsible again. He has something to fight for. For months he waited to be granted asylum, to provide Cedra and the kids with a better life. He tried all the legal paths. He even wrote a letter to Chancellor Merkel. Translating it into German cost him a week's wages. All in vain. What was left to do? He could board a boat and cross the sea. Who knows, he could even reach the shore rather than drown. But he would never risk Cedra and the kids' lives. He looked for other ways. And then he met, Isaac concludes, stopping in front of an unfinished high-rise building, bare bricks, no paint, no plaster. Oh, and then he met me. I didn't even notice when we got to the suburbs to a poor neighbourhood. He requested forged documents, German passport. All these things aren't cheap. I ordered 5 at once, and he paid cash up front. He'd been saving for years. Oh, this isn't going to end well, is it? But when I heard his story, I decided to do it for free of charge. Isaac announces, reaching into the backpack and producing 5 passports. I picked them up today. And we'll give them to Marco. He and Cedra and the kids can get on a plane and travel safely to Europe. Wow. That is quite the twist. That is... Wow. Yeah, that is quite shocking. I'm genuinely moved by the gesture. I didn't expect Isaac to be so altruistic. At least that was the plan initially, he carries on. And then you showed up. A guy wants to cross the sea in order to describe the voyage. And I support you, of course. The world needs to be reminded about the journeys of despair. All the more so now, when Europe seems to have forgotten about the crisis. Though these headlines have lost their electrifying power, the problem continues. Your intentions are good. But, excuse my honesty, you're not cut out for this. It's unlikely you'll survive the voyage. And you won't help anyone from the bottom of the sea. That's why I decided you need an assistant. A guide who will protect you and accompany you through the journey. Someone strong and responsible. Oh wow, okay, this is twists galore in the last 2 minutes. I think you get it by now, Isaac says, smiling. He looks confident and proud even. He picks Marco's passport out of the 5 and throws the document into the garbage can. With one swift motion, he ruined the man's chances of a safe trip to Europe. Cedra and the kids will fly, but Marco has no other choice now, Isaac announces. The boat is all he's got left. You pay for his voyage, and he will gratefully protect you. I can vouch for him. He's the best guide you'll find in Egypt. Come. With that, he heads towards the building's front door. This is on us. It has just occurred to me. Had we have not chosen Isaac, had we have chosen to go and meet Eric, this entire this found family of 5 would safely be on their way on a plane, right? And because we wanted to endure Isaac taking the world's longest crap and have him piss about with clothing, we are now taking a man away from his found family after losing his OG family to warlords and everything else. Wow. We couldn't get hold of Eric, no, but we knew where he was and we could have gone to him. I mean, I don't think we have a choice here, to be fair. I walk away from the garbage can in silence, although the passport seems to pull me back. Like a magnet, each step is torture. Come, says Isaac, and opens the building door for me. Let's change Cedra and the kid's life for the better. I walk into the building. I enter the building. I am immediately struck by how neat and tidy the corridors are. Although the building looks run down from the outside, someone clearly takes care of the interiors. It's almost exclusively inhabited by refugees, Isaac explains. The city lets them rent apartments which would otherwise be deemed unlivable. The corridor is clean, the stairs freshly washed. There are flower pots on windowsills and drawings stuck to the walls. This looks like a Berlin squat with its own street art gallery. I stay back and look at the scout. We're gonna look at the art. Look at the art. Stay back. Take a look at the sketches. They are mainly scenes from everyday life: a family dinner, laundry hanging out to dry, a playground soccer match. Though when I look closer, I notice an unsettling detail in each drawing, one that disturbs the apparent innocence. The ceiling in the apartment is cracked due to bombing. The soccer ball turns out to be a severed head. One trouser leg is shorter than the other, suggesting the garments belonged to an amputee. Yeah, this game got serious very quickly, which is it's good writing to be able to switch so quickly, to have this kind of like more lighthearted, and then just go wham out of nowhere, bam! Here is this is where shit gets serious. This is the bread and butter of the game. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster this stream. I'm not gonna lie. There must be an artist living in the building, my guide remarks. Let's go. Cedra's waiting. I take some pictures of a drawing. Yeah, we're taking photographs of these drawings. I pull out my phone and photograph for drawings. Who knows? I may need them for the book. Come on, let's go. I follow right behind. I follow Isaac closely. During our exhausting climb to the 11th floor, we encountered 2 gaping holes in the stairs, with wooden planks thrown over them for dubious safety. When we reach Marco's door, beads of sweat shine on Isaac's forehead. We knock and enter. We enter the flat. Welcome, says Marco, a Sudanese man, so tall that his head's almost rubbing up against the ceiling. We exchange greetings in his spacious, albeit dimly lit hall, which, after a quick look around, turns out to be the entire apartment. There are 5 people living in less than 20 square meters. Amu, Isaac. Oh, Amu, Isaac, 2 girls and a boy exclaim, hugging Isaac at the waist. Oh, I don't think I can handle this emotionally. I am going to apologise because I might get a little bit emotional at this. Because I know what's coming and it's going to be horrible. He conjures coloured pencils and drawing paper out of the backpack and gives them out to the kids like a Middle Eastern Santa Claus. Cedra, Marco commands. Tea for the guests. A tall brunette emerges from the bathroom. The beautiful woman's eyes have a mature dignity about them, but her youthful energy makes it hard to believe she's a mother of 3. Who am I to say if your guest's your wife? She says defiantly, but with no aggression. It seems more like a joke than a retort. I like this woman already. I like Cedra already. Not yet, Marco replies, smiling cheekily. Oh, God. Cedra rolls her eyes. She's charming. What would you like? She addresses us. We've got fresh and dry mint. We're out of the Syrian kind, sweet and black. Maybe mint then, asks Isaac, sending me an amused glance. Marco, Cedra explains, parroting her husband. Mint for the guests. Marco rolls his eyes as if he learned it from her. Who am I, your husband? Not yet. Oh, I love the little bands they got. This is really cute, and yeah, ultimately they make the tea together. We're sitting on a tiled floor, which is covered with small red patterned rugs. I remember similarly one of my childhood. My grandmother's living room. The flat is tiny and windowless. Some cables have been attached to the ceiling, and the walls painted a pale shade of pink. Though it is furnished with nothing but a divan bed, 2 mattresses and 3 chairs, the place is cluttered. Isaac is in no rush to talk business. Having introduced me as a friend, he finds an old newspaper in the corner and starts casually perusing it. Alright, we're going to sip the tea. I taste the tea. I taste the drink. It's a heavily sweetened, strong mint tea. God, that sounds amazing. I'm not used to adding sugar to herbal tea, personally. But I'm sure they did it for the guests. I wonder if they can afford sugar on a daily basis. Pointing to chat to the kids a bit, I asked them who they want to be when they grow up. The boy wants to be a YouTuber. Fair point. Fair point. The girl seems to be a little offended by the question. One is 13, the other is 11. They already think themselves as grown-ups. God, been there, done that. Christ. Yeah, never say to, like, you know, teenage children, what do you want to be when they grow up? Because they're just like, I am a grown-up. What the fuck are you talking about? God, stupid adult. So patronizing. Anyway, I simply ask how they are doing. Marco and Cedra look at each other. The woman nods approvingly. Kids, says the Sudanese. Adult talk. Cedra covers one of the girls' ears, and Marco the others, because of the cramped space precludes privacy. They have clearly developed a family procedure. Isaac points to the boy and gestures to me to do as the hosts did. I'm gonna let Isaac do this. He's gonna be the next Mr. Beast. Yes, yes, Game Raiders. I let Isaac do it. He covers the boy's ears. Just don't listen, he instructs. Cedra fidgets on the rug. She's clearly feeling ill at ease. She doesn't want to start. The situation is bad. Marco steps up. The city increased the rent. They don't want us here. If this goes on, Cedra continues, the girls will have to undergo the surgery. You mean Tahara? Isaac assumes. When I grow up, I want to be a space astronaut. Do you know what, Jack? That is a damn good dream. Marco nods and replies. She seems unwilling to talk about it. Tahara is a tradition common to a block of countries in Africa and the Middle East, including Egypt. Yeah, this is female genital mutilation, which is foul and disgraceful, frankly. And I don't care if there are people that potentially watch this in the future and are like, oh, yeah, you just don't understand the culture. It is mutilation. And it is vile and vulgar. And, yeah. And it is a reason why so many people try and flee their countries with their children, especially if they have daughters, because of this. And it is literally like, it's a form of honor-based violence. I know this because in a past life, I used to work and within safeguarding teams, and it is just some of the most horrible thing. As many as 9 out of 10 Egyptian women are reported to have undergone the procedure, which is specifically designed to protect a woman's honor by amputating part of female genitalia to prevent sexual satisfaction. It's the only way they can marry, Cedric concludes bitterly. Otherwise no one will want them, and we can't afford to support them any longer. Although it's barbaric. The mood in the room is somber. The hosts fall silent, devoid of energy and friendliness. Luckily no one will have to suffer, says Isaac, breaking the silence. He reaches into his backpack. He pulls out the passports and nonchalantly hands them to the hosts. Clearly he has a flair for the dramatic. Don't thank me, it's nothing. For a moment, sorry, I'm a little bit at that. Whew. It's got a bit warm. It's got a bit warm in my office. Not crying. Oh, anyway. For a moment, Cedra stares vacantly at her own photo in the document. She's speechless. Then she embraces Isaac, squeezes him and kisses him on the cheek with an explosion of gratitude. God is good, she explains, unable to calm down the euphoria. I can't believe it. Isaac gives me a slightly embarrassed look, trapped in the Syrian's embrace. Callie wants to be the god emperor of mankind when they grow up. Game Raiders wants to be a high-velocity lemon. Lovely. Isaac gives me a slightly embarrassed look, trapped in Syrian's embrace. Cheap actor. He's one cheap actor, I think to myself. He's playing the role from a script he fucking wrote for himself. I don't believe that his intentions are sincere or his reactions are natural. I don't know. He seems like a bit of a shady bastard, but to be fair, he's helping people. Yeah, he's getting paid. Well, he's not even getting paid for this. He's doing it free of charge. Children, Cedra announces, letting go of Isaac. We're going to Europe. I watch Marco look through the passports. He counts them 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. No more. I know perfectly well which one is missing, and I feel guilty. There's a question in his eyes as he looks to Isaac. The Egyptian replies with a sad smile and a look and a quick shake of the head. There isn't. I suspected that Marco would protest, object, or ask why Isaac was able to deliver 4 passports and failed at the 5th, but no. The Sudanese simply accepts the fact. He embraces the kids and kisses each of them on the forehead. The gesture is sad and wistful. Fuck me. I know we've gone over because I was only going to do a 2-hour stream, but I want to kind of get to the end of this bit, and it's getting real now. It's getting proper real. As if he's saying goodbye, maybe forever. This is I can't help it. I say I'm sorry. Marco does not understand. Why would I, the guest, be sorry? Isaac takes over before I say a word too many. He explains what will happen to Marco now. Cedra and the kids are going to fly to Germany, and the Sudanese will be able to join them several weeks later. As soon as he crosses the Mediterranean, Isaac fails to mention the trek from the shores to Germany, spanning half of the continent. Everything's been taken care of, and the smuggler's fees will be paid by today's guest, me. Isaac nods at me ceremoniously. As long as Marco wants to accompany me, of course. The Egyptian presents me as saviour, friend, Marco's only hope. You're going to feel like a con artist. And I can barely listen to all the superlatives that Isaac uses to describe me. Marco puts his hand on my shoulder. There are tears in his eyes. Sorry. I didn't think this was going to get to me as much as it is. Anyway, thank you for Sudanese says you've saved me. Without you, I don't know what I would do. We cross the sea together. I swear that not a hair on your head will be lost. I protect you if I have to pay with my own. No. Oh. Okay. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. I need a minute. Just to... Yeah, we're good. Oh, when dusk falls, I go back to the hotel with the image of Marco's hand on my chest imprinted in my mind. We're going to meet up again the day after tomorrow. I'm supposed to be ready for the journey. Perhaps I'll be able to suppress the pangs of remorse by then. At night, Alexandria looks as if it was built of toy blocks. Through the window, I can barely see the grey sky. The tired yellow glow of the street lamps on bridges and buildings, and the circus rainbow of the lights on the shore. My muscles are decently sore, which should be expected after a whole day of walking. One last moment of euphoria, one last thought of wanting to conquer the world, one last round of adrenaline in my veins. But I know that exhaustion will soon take its toll. I'm about to fall on my face and vegetate in bed. It's crucial not to miss a small window of opportunity when I can still switch on work mode. I take out my notepad and sit down to write. I find a playlist on Spotify called Sahara and press play. It's both energizing and exotic, inspired by tradition, yet modern. I'm ready. I leaf through my notes. What should I work on first? We're going to go chronologically. Think about my breakfast. That great breakfast that seemed like forever ago. I don't have much more to say, really. I wrote a pretty detailed description as I ate. All it needs is a little editing to polish the grammar. As I work, though, I wonder if I'm not devoting too much time to food. Aren't 7 paragraphs about breakfast overdoing it? There's no such thing as too much food. We're flipping the mood again. I make a decision and finish the passage. I move on to the next entry. Having checked all of the commas are in order, I move on to the next entry. Isaac's view on the revolution. I remember how Isaac and I talked about the revolution of Egypt in 2011. A 24-year-old Isaac took part in the protests in Cairo's Tahrir Square. Like hundreds of thousands of Egyptians, he believed they would end Hosni Mubarak's dictatorship. 846 people lost their lives for this belief, and they succeeded. However, their initial enthusiasm quickly gave way to disappointment. 2 years later, General El-Sisi came to power, and as a result of a military coup, one autocracy followed by another. Today, Isaac is reluctant to talk about this episode of his life. He distances himself from the monosyllabic responses with monosyllabic responses, but the photograph from Tahrir Square is still hanging on his wall. I wonder how I should describe the situation. What's my take on it? The longing of a burnt-out man. Isaac didn't seem like a sentimental man. As a man of affairs, he prioritized business over everything else. Or, at least, that was what I had thought until I found a framed photograph of the Tahrir Square protests. In the foreground, a 20-year-old angry Isaac can be seen. This was the only personal item that the 30-year-old Isaac kept in his home, as if he was missing that youthful idealism in his adult life, as if he was missing the times when he dared to do so much dared to do such things. Christ, I am reading badly. Thanks for joining, Game Raiders. I continue in the same fashion for several more sentences. Next entry. We are going to call it a day after this, I think. We're going to have the Muslim Brotherhood on a ridiculous situation. Me standing in the street in the front of the Muslim Brotherhood's headquarters at a currently illegal organisation. That would be a great material for the book. Illegal things sell twice as fast. Suspicions of terrorism 4 times as fast. Instead of walking in, meeting them, and talking, I'm standing outside and reading articles I found on Google because Isaac said so. A complete failure, and a testament to what a weak reporter I am, how little experience I have, how I can't elbow my way through this world and get what's mine. No, that's shit. I feel like I only wanted to cross out the bottom bit, but apparently the entire entry's gone. Anyway, Um, we're going to talk about the refugees' drawings. The walls of the staircase were covered with drawings. The art changed the space. A ruin became a gallery. A building bore witness to the hardships of daily life. It gave a new meaning to the refugees' experience. I follow this with a few more sentences on the drawings I found on the wall in the rundown apartment of the suburban Alexandria. I don't think there's anything else to really write about today. That's it for today. I close my notebook and stare at the window for a moment. The city is asleep. I should be too. But when I go to bed, my brain is still in high gear, intellectually stimulated. It takes me a long time, and I finally fall asleep. And whew, so that is approximately 2 hours of We the Refugees Ticket to Europe. Like I said, the link to the game by Act Zero Studios, who we did a chatbot with. I did a chatbot with last summer, which is on the channel. It'll be in the chatbots playlist. So do go and check that out, and also go and check the game out. As you saw, it is a really gorgeous visual novel. The art style is stunning. The tone is that right mixture of, you know, hard realities which feel like a genuine gut punch and almost reduce me to tears for all of your entertainment and amusement this evening. Have yet to find a game that has actually made me cry on stream yet, but then I haven't played Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy, so I don't know, maybe in the future. But yeah, please do. You know, there's a demo of the game, obviously. Do go and follow these guys on Twitter as well. This is such an important game, and it's talking about things that... And the game hit the nail on the head. You know, with refugees at the moment, especially in the UK, and I know that there is currently law changes happening in the US as well that is affecting migrants that are moving from countries in South America into the US. Refugees right now are being treated in a really, really disgraceful manner, and rhetorics that are being used by government officials is abhorrent. These are my personal views, not that of Robot Republic or anyone that I actually am affiliated with, but the language being used is abhorrent and disgraceful, and these are human beings who have gone and are escaping horrible, horrible persecution for a myriad number of reasons, and I, for one, will be playing a lot more of this game. We are going to be back to our normal stuff next week. We're going to be back to Jedi Survivor next week, but I thought with the release of this game, and it dealing with such an important issue, and with all the shit that's going on right now, rhetoric-wise, with politics and everything else across various countries in Western Europe, I thought it was important that we cover this, because not only do we know the developers, do we get on really well, and I have a lot of respect and a lot of time for the guys over at Act Zero. I wanted to share this incredible project with you guys because I think it needs more sharing. So yeah, please do like this video, and you know, get people talking about this game. More people need to talk about this game because it is dealing with something that is so fundamentally human that is being overlooked by people in power at the moment, and it shouldn't be. You think this is bad now? You wait until Pride Month. I'm on one at the moment. I'm not going to apologise either. I am on a liberal, lefty, bollocks to fascism, and fuck every non-humanitarian person ideology at the moment because I'm sick of it. But yes, please do go and follow Act Zero Games. Go and look at this game. You know, I think it's currently $12.99 on Steam. It's not a lot of money, and it supports a studio that are telling such an important story, and talk to people, mention this game to people. There's a demo on Steam. If you're talking to your friends and they like visual novels, tell them to download the demo and try it out, because it is, as we've seen this evening, it's funny. The choices actually impact the narrative, which a lot of AAA games should bloody learn a lesson from. I'm sick of playing AAA games where they provide you with choices that lead to literally nothing. And yeah, thank you for joining me this evening. This has been an important stream for me. And I wanted to do this. And happy birthday, Robot Republic, as well. I feel like this is... I will be joked about it at the start, but I feel this is an approach. This is what we are about. We're about positivity, and this is a really important game. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for indulging me for the last 2 hours and 15 minutes. Oh yeah, Callie's right. You know, buy a copy of this for your local right-wing member of parliament or congressman or something like that, you know. Hello, dear Suella Bra. If you are watching this and your local MP is Cruella Braverman, buy her a copy and say, "Oi, Suella, before you go ahead with your horrible stop the boats bullshit, why don't you play this?" Yeah, exactly. Happy birthday, Ron DeSantis. Why don't you educate yourself, you stupid bastard? You vile human beings. Actually educate yourselves and develop some humanity. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please do like, subscribe. We've got new content coming out on a semi-regular basis at the moment. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to go and probably have a bit of a cry now. I'm a little bit emotional after that. But yeah, we'll see you next time, guys.